Good evening. Today is Tuesday, August the 12th, 2025. It is 6 p.m., so I will call us to order for our regular city council meeting. We do have a quorum. So our first item is our invocation, and then our pledge of allegiance will stand. Father, we just thank you for another opportunity to gather as leaders of our town to make decisions for our citizens. I just pray that the decision that we make would benefit all of our citizens, just guide our actions, guide our answers, guide our decisions. We just thank you for the directors that work diligently for our city. We just pray your protection around the emergency personnel as they continue to do their jobs to keep us safe. Thank you for all the good things that you do, and we just ask this in Christ's name we pray. Amen. Join us with the flags. First, the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Our next item is a special presentation of Business of the Month presented by JEDCO President Shane Pace. Mr. Pace.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. This month I'm pleased to announce that we are going to be honoring Jacksonville Family Dentistry. So I have Dr. Megan Fancher, so if you wouldn't mind coming up really quickly. Dr. Fancher, how long has it been? A couple years now since you bought the building and renovated it? 2 years. So 2 years ago she bought the building on Ragsdale Street, directly next door to what we all know as El Lagunero. It was a very small shop there. The remainder of the building was all burned out, right? There had been a fire back there. It was in really, really bad shape. If you've been in the last 2 years, she's done an amazing transformation. The building is beautiful. The finish out is great. Just a huge asset. She brings a ton of people downtown, which is great for our economy. And she provides a service that we all need. So we just want to say thank you for investing in Jacksonville, bringing your practice here. I know you're a mom and you're busy, but you really, really pour everything into this community. So thank you so much for all you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next item is citizens participation. This is where we set aside time to hear from the citizens. It's not a dialogue. We can just listen. We do have one tonight, Deborah Burkett, Dr. Deborah Burkett. You'll come to the podium and state your name and address, and as always, just limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I've got them written down and I timed it.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm Deborah Burkett. I live in the Mixon community. My physical address is 114 North Cherokee County Highway 135. I'm here this evening as chairman of the Cherokee County Annual Flag Day event held each year on June 14, our nation's National Flag Day. Since its beginning for 8 years, it's been my honor to serve as chair and to work with multiple groups in town, including Jacksonville Wednesday Study Club, Cherokee County Historical Commission, Vanishing Texana Museum, Sweet Union Baptist Church, Keep Jacksonville Beautiful, just to name a few. Our goal each year is to present a program at Hazel Tilton Park in downtown Jacksonville, open to all, which includes music, patriotic speeches, and a free picnic, all the while focusing on honoring the U.S. flag. Each year the program is different and unique. This year, June 14 fell on the same day as Tomato Fest. Wanting to stay true to June 14 and also be a part of Tomato Fest, we plan to start Flag Day at 7 a.m. A flag was purchased for the large flagpole, and we were calling the event Raising Old Glory. We were going to raise it, salute it, and sing the Star Spangled Banner, all led by the Likings family and by our own Mayor Randy Gorham and his prize fiddle, Bertha, huh?
Correct.
That's another story for another meeting. But due to heavy rains before the event this year, conditions in the park were poor. Too wet for chairs and musical instruments and sound equipment. So special thanks to James Hubbard for offering us the use of this beautiful city hall. And thanks to Park Director Devin Fredrickson for his help. I greatly appreciate it. And also all the city employees like Brandon Worley. Many early risers came that morning and filled this beautiful room. It was a special musical tribute and very talented people participated. However, due to relocating here and not being in the park, we couldn't raise Old Glory. So tonight I want to make a presentation. I have the flag we were going to raise that day. It's purchased and sponsored by the Flag Day Committee. A quick note about this flag and the flag maker. It was made by the Anand Flag Makers, one of the oldest and largest flag manufacturers in the United States. They were founded in 1847. U.S. flags made by this company have played a role in all of our nation's history. Tonight, I just want to cite a few examples. First, did you know that one of these flags made by this company was displayed at the inauguration and also at the funeral of Abraham Lincoln? Their flags were at the expeditions at the North and the South Pole with Commander Peary and Admiral Byrd. Their flags were also raised at the Battle of Iwo Jima in World War II. Now, tonight, with this presentation, we will have one of their flags flying at Hazel Tilton Park. Could I ask Mayor and James to come, and I want my picture made. And Devin too. And I would like to say that for each year in the 8 years, we kept photographs and documentation, and we have a Flag Day book that we're publishing, and so I want this picture to go in the Flag Day book.
How you want
You wanna hold it?
I'm getting away from the public.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Have I got it right? There.
I feel like I'm in every picture.
Thank you so much.
Every picture. I'm in every picture. I've learned to smile like somebody. Yeah. So I'm not back here like.
Thank you so much. Our next item is our consent agenda. Items under our consent agenda require little or no deliberation by the council. You can see the minutes, approval of the minutes, approval of the closure of the city streets, 2 road closures. So I will entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen, second by Mayor Pro Tem Tim McRae. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that consent agenda passes. We're going to move item 8, action out of executive session. We're going to have to go back into executive session. We'll catch them all at one time. Item number 9 is to discuss and consider proposing a tax rate and setting September 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. as the date and time to hold a public hearing on the proposed tax rate and budget. Take an individual vote regarding that proposed tax rate. James, you want
Yes, Mayor, Council, thank you so much for all the time you spent with us last Friday as a staff, really digging into the budget and the tax rate. Tonight, for the purposes of the presentation, I'm really just going to hone in on the proposed tax rate. At the September 9th meeting, since that will serve as the time to adopt a tax rate and also a budget, I'll provide a more comprehensive update on the budget itself, but again, tonight we'll focus on the rate. In 2024, you see our net taxable value there at $1,039,000,000. Our 2025 yield was $1,095,000,000, so it's a change of $56 million, representing 5.39% increase. Applying at the same tax rate, which is the tax rate that we built the budget around at the 63763 cents, that brings or yields an additional revenue to the city based on a 98.5% collection rate of $352,000. Here's a look at the net taxable value over the last 10-year history. Last year, as we discussed at length, we saw a pretty abysmal increase in the net taxable value, only going up 1.9%. This year, again, we're hovering in that 5.4% range, so a little bit healthier this year. Some of the factors that have suppressed this increase are the increase in the amount of property subject to the 10% homestead limitation, and also the recent addition of the 20% non-homestead or commercial limitation. As compared to last year, we saw a $20 million increase in the amount of property being impacted by the 20% non-homestead limitation. And on the homestead side, we only saw about $1 million increase. So the commercial front is taking advantage of that 20% cap there. And then last year was the first time that we were able to talk about the medical and biomedical personal property exemption. That took $42 million, $39.7 million off the tax rolls last year, representing around $260,000 of revenue. This year, removed $42.9 million of taxable business personal property from the rolls, representing $273,000. And we'll talk about the value of 1 cent on the tax rate here in a moment, but it's roughly $100,000, so that's about 2.7 cents on the tax rate. The bottom part of this slide, what you're seeing is a little bit of a trend over the last 3 years in terms of the value of land that makes up the tax rolls, both split between home site, which is largely residential property or property subject to homestead limitations, and non-home site or commercial property. Kind of an alarming trend here as I see it. You see that the increased prices on the home site land, they've increased 64% over the last 3 years, and on the non-home site land, you only see a 29% increase. So a shift toward, I would say, the rooftops bearing some load on the taxes here to run the city. On the improvements, so that's the built environment on those lands, whether that be factories, retailers, or homes. We've seen it pretty neck and neck over the last 3 years. On the home site side, 30%, on the non-home site, 33%. Here's a look at the 4 tax rates that we took a look at as we built this budget as staff this year. Again, you see there on the left-hand side of the screen that 1 cent rate that I referenced a moment ago. But the budget was built, and the budget that we presented at the Friday, August 8th workshop with the City Council was based upon an exactly flat tax rate of 63.763 cents per $100 of valuation. We also looked at the no new revenue tax rate, which would have reduced the tax rate to about 60 cents, but also reduced our revenue by $18,000 compared to the current year. The voter approval rate, which is the rate which would bring in 3.5% cap, which is set by state law, would be just there hovering under 6 cents, but would have brought in $588,000 extra revenue as compared to the 352. And then the de minimis rate, which is a rate that only towns of 30,000 or less in population have access to, would have brought in an additional revenue of $685,000 to the city. Again, staff recommends approval of a budget which will take place at the September 9th meeting at a flat tax rate of the 63763 cents. Here's a look back last 10 years of that ad valorem tax rate history. You see a slight peak there from 2019 through 2021 at 69 cents flat. And if approved as proposed, what we would see is the 3rd consecutive year of the 63763 rate. So here's the average impact, to the average homestead. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road for those rooftops. The average homestead value has increased 8.79% based on the appraisals performed by the Cherokee Central Appraisal District, raising the average homestead from $154,802 to $168,405, representing an increased bill of $86.74 over the course of a year. Again, the general fund is responsible for funding police, fire, and emergency medical services, streets, library, museum, parks, animal control, code enforcement, and development services. For the purposes of tonight, this is the same slide I walked you through just a moment ago, but you see on the left-hand side of the screen here, and I'm going to be as hopefully concise as I can with this, but we're recommending tonight the purposes of setting the tax rate ceiling, and this was discussed at the workshop on Friday, of setting the tax rate ceiling at 645 cents per $100 of valuation. We would, however, at the September 9th meeting expect, barring any kind of last-minute addition to the budget subject to council approval, we would expect to adopt on September 9th the 63763 However, by no way can we exceed the rate which we set as the ceiling tonight. So to provide a little bit of buffer as we go over the course of the next 30 days and finalizing the budget, we are recommending setting the ceiling at 645. We likely will be recommending adoption of the tax rate on September 9th at the 63763 rate. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I will entertain a motion on the setting the ceiling of the proposed tax rate.
Mayor and council, I'll make a motion that we set the ceiling on the proposed tax rate at 6.45 cents per hundred.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Tim McRae,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Mindy Gillett. Any discussion or questions? I think this has to be a roll call vote,
That's correct.
so I will go to Councilman Rob Goen,
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Tim McRae,
Yay.
Mayor Randy Gorham, yay, Councilwoman Letitia Horace,
Yay.
and Councilwoman Mindy Gillett.
Yay.
Very good. We have 5 yeas and 0 nays. So that motion passes. All right. Item number 10. Discuss and consider action approving the 25-26 Jacksonville Economic Development Corporation budget. That'll be presented by their president, Shane Pace.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you, James, for putting the slide up. As James mentioned a few minutes ago, we had the City Council Budget Workshop on Friday, August the 8th. At that meeting, I went very in-depth through each one of the line items here. So tonight, I'm just giving you a summary overview. Everything in the budget that we presented on August the 8th remains the same with the exception of the sales tax revenue. As I mentioned there, I was going to pull that final number from the city's budget. And that number that you'll see reflected there under revenue at the top is now $1,860,247. It was previously at $1,769,571. So that's been the increase there. That's following the trend that the city is projecting. We have been pretty close on an annual basis, so Roxana does a good job with the predictions there. What that did was increase our total revenue to a little over $2.2 million. As you'll look at the overall summary, our total economic development projects down there is at $3.265 million. That includes a plethora, that's our operating expenses or our overhead, as well as our economic development projects that we went through line by line at the Friday meeting. So really no significant changes there. Our total budget this year is proposed at $3.8 million or $3,887,200. That is a reduction from last year's, which was at $4.350. The difference there is that we've had some larger projects that have rolled off. As we mentioned in the budget workshop, we have a couple of big projects that are coming online. However, the way the incentive packages have been structured with those deals, they won't actually become payable or due until the next upcoming fiscal year, so they won't be allocated in this annual budget. But everything else remains the same, and I'm happy to answer any questions on any of the line items that we discussed tonight or at Friday's meeting.
Do you have any questions?
Pretty straightforward budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet. So we have heard Chedco's budget. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 25-26 Jedco budget.
We have a motion by Councilman Rob Goen, second by Mayor Pro Tem Tim McRae. Any discussion?
Nope.
No? If so, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Our next item is our quarterly financial report presented by Finance Director Roxana Bryant.
Just
Oh.
watch what Shane did.
Always
A
look forward to that.
simplification of it.
I told you Friday I was gonna make it extra just for you, right? So I'm here to, can I go backwards? To talk about the quarter that ended June 30th, so the third quarter. So as of June 30th, we've collected approximately $36.6 million in revenue, representing 82.6% of the total budget revenue of $44.3 million. This includes strong property tax collections and sales tax growth, as well as continued positive performance in water, sewer, and sanitation revenues. On the expenditure side, year-to-date spending totals $21.9 million, or 40.5% of the total $54.1 million expenditure budget. This lower percentage is largely due to the timing of major capital projects and conservative spending in operational categories. So now we'll take a look at our revenue trends of our top revenues. Number one being ad valorem taxes. Collections are strong at 97.7% of the budget, totaling $6.58 million, up 3.68% from the previous year. Sales tax year-to-date, $2.68 million, which represents 75.3, almost perfect, percent of the budget, and reflects a 9.19 increase over last year. Water sales at 70.2% of budget, with revenues totaling $2.72 million, up 5.46% from fiscal year 2024. And sewer sales year-to-date, collections at $2.58 million, or 69.6% of the budget, representing a 13.96% increase over the prior year. Sanitation fees, collections total $1.13 million, or 74% of the budget, and they're up 3.43% over last year. Now, we have a few categories that are below the budgeted expectations. Ambulance fees are down about 8.78% from the prior year, with 67.1% of the budget collected. Hotel occupancy taxes down 7.47% from the prior year, with 71.6% of the budget collected. And then court fees, while they're 2.9% higher than the prior year, collections are at 70.3% of the budget, falling short of the year-to-date expectations. Our number one expenditure category outside of capital projects is employee services. Year-to-date, we've spent $7.94 million, or 68% of the budget, and the variance is primarily due to unfilled positions, which reduce salary, overtime, and associated benefit expenses until vacancies are filled. Capital projects stand at $4.34 million, at 15.8% of the $27.4 million capital budget. This lower percentage is largely because the city historically budgets the entire cost of a capital project in the year that it's authorized, even though the work and the associated expenditures often span multiple years. So many projects are still in their early stages, and under the new budget that James just spoke about, we plan to begin budgeting the capital expenditures more like how the projects are planned, that way to make the budget more realistic. The top 5 projects by expenditure are the boating access improvements. I know everyone is excited for this project to be complete at $1.3 million. And we had our fire EMS equipment replacement, $781,000. Wastewater collection Vector truck replacement at $440,000. The Highway 175 utility relocates at $324,000. And then the Live Oak Sunnydale apartment SEP project at $290,000. Fund balances at the end of June 30th, general fund ending balance of $7.07 million, revenues at 81.6% of the budget, with expenditures at 67.5%. The utility fund ending balance of $20.29 million, with revenues at 85.4% of the budget, above the 75% quarterly benchmark, primarily due to the $11.7 million received from the issuance of the Series 2024B certificates of obligation. Expenditures are just 23.6% of the budget, as 2 of the major bond-funded capital projects are fully budgeted here. That's what I was talking about how we're going to do the budgeting differently in the upcoming budget. Those 2 bond projects, the sanitary sewer system trunk main manhole lift station force main replacements and improvements, is a $4.8 million project, with the Double Creek wastewater treatment plant update and expansion being an $11.5 million project. And the capital projects fund ending fund balance of $4.76 million, with revenues at 62.9% of the budget and expenditures at 13.7% respectively. Okay, cash and investments. This is the last piece of the presentation. At June 30th, the total cash and investments stood at $34.77 million compared to $36.02 million at March 31st. The slight decrease is expected for this point in the fiscal year. Most of our property tax revenue comes in early in the year, while the largest deposit is being received by January 31st. And as we move into the final quarter, expenditures naturally begin to outpace the revenues as operational and capital spending continues. This quarter also marks the beginning of our engagement with Deep Blue Investment Advisors, who began transacting on the city's behalf in mid-June. This resulted in new investments in U.S. Treasuries and commercial paper. So those are new items that you'll see and that you'll see in the full report. Going forward, Deep Blue will be the ones preparing and presenting the quarterly investment reports to the City Council. So this will be my last time to speak about this piece of it. Currently, our allocation cash at 52.4%, and our investment pools at 24%, treasuries represent 12.3%, certificates of deposit 8.5%, commercial paper 2.5%, and then 0.3% in money market funds. At the close of the third quarter, we remain in a strong financial position with revenues outpacing expenditures, with healthy fund balances that are all meeting the fund balance requirement, and our long-term financial outlook is stable. All right, does anyone have any questions that I can answer?
Roxanne, I just had a couple of questions. Sales tax revenue is up pretty strong, I think 9%. Do we have, and I know we kind of talked about this on Friday, do we have any ideas that we can discuss here on kind of what's driving that for this particular quarter?
Our sales tax revenues are like exactly at the amended budget, basically. They are ahead of prior year. We had some dips prior year, but those have flattened out, and we've seen some small incremental increases from prior year. Really, I don't have an analysis on the categories, but overall, when in my big financial report, you'll see one page that talks about the East Texas comparison cities that we have. And when you look at the weighted average percent, Jacksonville is actually performing the strongest, with Athens also is performing strong. We are the top two. So we're doing well.
Good.
Okay. And then sewer sales are up quite a bit over last year. Do we know what's driving that?
Yeah, that's the rate
Just the rate
increases.
increase?
The
Okay.
way when the rate study was conducted, we found that we were recouping the cost of water pretty well. But on the sewer side, we weren't recovering that cost. So primarily the rates changed up the sewer side, and that's why the increase over prior year is what it is.
It
Gotcha.
looks kind of odd when you're selling more sewer than you are water.
Makes you wonder. Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of odd there, but
Well, but we still have higher water sales, but it's just all about the cost. The
Okay.
cost of
Right.
producing water is less, or at least we're recovering that, and the cost of treating the sewer. You know, we have those big bond projects that we have to fund, the wastewater treatment plant expansion, that big trunk main.
Okay. And then you may have said this and I missed it. On the fund balances, the grant fund line was at a negative.
Yes.
So we haven't spent more grant fund money than we've gotten though, right?
It's just
Or have we?
timing. As a matter of fact, I'd hit Devin up. He got back from vacation. It's like, where are we on getting the money for the boating project? You know, so he got a hold of SPI real quick, and they asked for some information from us, and they're on it, getting our money back. But it's
Okay,
just
so
the
these are
timing.
reimbursement grants?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
got you. So we have spent more than what we've gotten, but these are reimbursements that we're gonna get back?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you.
The greatest number for me that's pretty interesting is the VERF. I can remember 5 or 6 years ago, we were financing police cars, and now we're paying cash for them, so that's That was brilliant, whoever came up with that.
It's exciting for finance people, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you can cash pay as you go, that's always an exciting
It
thing.
is. Thank you very much.
Especially with the cost of money these days.
Yeah, you don't have the interest costs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, you do a great job. Item number 12, open forum for mayor and council. Anybody have anything you want to talk about?
I already said I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay. Eric, Kim Hall. Anybody else? Yeah,
I got nothing.
all right. We'll go to item number 13 then, city manager's report.
I'll keep it very, very brief tonight as well, Mayor. Just two projects that people are taking note of for sure. You'll see the foundation for a stage structure to probably start erection a little bit later this week. They're at the northwest corner of Hazel Tilton Park, just north of the museum. Really looking forward to that. That was a project that's taken a lot of collaboration with local vendors, with our departments to keep the cost down. If you'll recall, we originally had that project designed by an architect, and we took it to bid 2 different times, and it came in excess of double the project estimate. And so we kind of went back to the drawing board as a staff and looked at pre-engineered structures and how we could go about GCing the project ourselves. And we've cut about $200,000 out of that project cost, and I think we're gonna deliver a really, really nice product for the community. Looking forward to kicking off, hopefully on October 18th, which is a Saturday, the inaugural concert out there in conjunction with the Falling in Love with Jacksonville event being held downtown by the Jacksonville Arts Alliance.
Yeah.
Man, I botched that up. Yeah, Jacksonville Area Arts Alliance, thank you. And then every Friday thereafter for 4 consecutive Fridays, we plan to have an outdoor concert series. So more to come on that soon. Need to get the stage done before we roll out all the details, but really looking forward to seeing the community congregate there at what used to be called Jacksonville Square. And we have a wonderful Texas historical plaque there, thanks to efforts by Dr. Burkett as well, that will be prominently located in the park. And then here's the latest progress on the restroom structure. Again, this structure was designed to mimic the structures there at the Love's Lookout rest stop, so it's going to be a really phenomenal structure to kind of anchor the lake park improvements, but this is really going to be kind of the capstone on the project. Thankfully, we're selling fuel due to the new fueling system that started just after July 4th. Swimming piers and some mooring piers are done, but we should see this project come to a head here as we roll into fall, and certainly we'll have it ready to rock and roll for the 2026 boating season. So that's all I got.
All right. So, at 6:33, we will complete our regular session, and we will immediately go back into executive session, and then we probably will come out with some items that we'll need to take action on, so.